Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial. I am going to try and explain to you how I create seamless patterns in Procreate. And before I start explaining the technique, I want to tell you that I take absolutely no credit for the information I'm going to share. It is not a technique that I developed myself. I got it from the Instagram of Procreate. They showed the tutorial there and I gave it a try, and I figured since I have created several patterns already, I would show them to you. While I was experimenting, I stumbled upon some limitations that I also want to mention in case you want to try and create your own patterns as well. So to start off, I am going to create a canvas, and I have created a CMYK canvas of 6000 by 6000 pixels. I created in CMYK so that the colors are good for printing. The reason why I pick 6000 by 6000 is so that the canvas is large enough to then reduce the size, because I will create my illustration on this size, I create a pattern of this size, and then I will reduce it later. The first and so far only limitation that I've found in Procreate is that you don't have the wraparound function. What I mean by that is if you draw outside, it stops. There are software like Photoshop and I believe Krita that allow you to have the wraparound function, and if you then draw outside of the canvas, it means it would appear over here. Unfortunately, Procreate does not have that, meaning that you need to make sure when you create your pattern, or at least the design for the pattern, that you don't touch the edges of the canvas, because there is no way in Procreate to make sure that this will align with this part. So that's the only limitation that I have found. And I will now create a random pattern. I will eventually speed this up, but I do want you to see the entire process of what I'm doing. If you don't want to see me create this, I will put a timestamp to the actual explanation of the tutorial in the description below, of course. Okay, I have created my pattern, and I am now going to merge these layers so that I have one layer. And now I'm going to start creating the pattern. So I create a new layer. I fill this one with black, and I set the opacity of the black layer to about 50%. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then I am going to merge these two layers by selecting this, you have to do this, you have to, wait, I'll undo it. You have to slide a little to the right. I'm always mistaken and I always slide to the left, but then you get the options. So, and then you click group. Next we will duplicate this group, and this is what you're working with. So you have two groups right now. So from here, you make sure that your group is selected. You go to the select option, make sure that magnetic is on, and then you will slide your illustration to the center. Now it's important to note that if you do something wrong, it's best to start over, because once your illustration is outside of the canvas, it will be cut off. That is just the way Procreate designed it, so everything outside of the canvas will be deleted. So we will slide, and the magnetic will make sure that if you go to the side, it will try and snap itself back to the center. Now you will have to maneuver it to the center manually. It will not snap automatically. So about there. Oh, and I moved again, so I have to start over. Okay, so that's good. Then I will unselect it. So everything that was here is now lost. Therefore, it is very important to do this correctly, because if one pixel is off, you will see that in your pattern and you will have to start over. Then for the next step, I am selecting the other group. Going back to the select tool again, make sure magnetic is on, and then this is where the first stage of the magic will happen. I'm moving it to the center, but not completely over. I hope that I'm gonna try it again just to make sure that I did it right. So we're not going directly over, to be exact, because this is pixel work, like I said. So we will now unselect it, and then we will zoom in, make sure it's in the center, and then we start tapping to move the make sure that selected is on again, of course. We will start tapping to move it pixel by pixel. Unselect to see, as this is where the darker layers come in, because otherwise you wouldn't see how far you need to go, because if you turn these off, it will just be white. Oh. And you wouldn't know if your pattern is correct, so you need to make sure there is no overlap here. That is why you need to create the dark layers. So again, cancel. Make sure that you have the select group. Tapping, unselecting, tapping, unselecting, tapping. You see, it's very, very fine. So now, also, make sure you don't tap here. You need to tap in the center, because if you start tapping on the sides, it will move in that direction as well. So make sure that everything is okay. And now we're almost there. Yeah, I think this is, nope, still not correct. So this is pixel work. You need to, oh, and now I don't know if the camera picks it up, but now I went a little bit too far, and now I see that there is a white line instead of a dark line. So I need to undo this by double tapping and just do it again. Nope. Back. just one tap, yeah. Okay, so now that is perfect. We then move the layers with our pattern outside of the groups. We delete the groups. And now we merge down our two layers, so we have one layer again. For the next step, we actually have to repeat the exact same things, but instead of moving left to right, we need to move up and down. So we're going to create a new layer, fill it with black again, reduce the opacity. We make sure that it's a group. We duplicate that group. And then we start moving those groups again. So we go to the select tool, make sure magnetic is on, and we are moving it up. Somewhere in the center. Again, it does not have to be perfect, because I will just show you why it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm not moving it completely into the center. The only part that is important is this side and that side. So you can't do this. This is not correct. You make sure that it's snapped and that there is a blue line in the center. Oh, okay. And zoom in just to check, because of course the size of the canvas may look like it's okay, but when you zoom in it might still be overlap or a little too far. So this is your pattern. Now I will again move the pattern outside of the groups, delete the groups, and merge down. Alright, now you can see that this is actually how we created the wraparound function. So whatever ends here starts here, and the same goes for this side. Therefore, to do this, it wasn't that important that the center was perfect, but that the sides were. The sides are very important in this technique. Now you can see, of course, that there is like this white area, but now you have the option to just fill it in with whatever it is you want. So I'm going to create another blob, and for this I use the Watercolor MaxPacks that I bought, and I'm extremely happy with this. I'm using the Watercolor Flow 2-color brush, and I select the 2 colors for this, which is like a purple and an orange, and the brush works in such a way that it's pressure. So if you have light pressure, you will have one color. If you have more pressure, you will get the other. So let's just do that. Okay, I don't like that. Let's do a simpler one. No. Okay, I'm very fussy about this, but gonna create another layer. Now I created this in a separate layer just in case I would want to move this a little to the side. For the details, I use the fountain pen toothy brush, and I use black as a color. So I wonder what pattern I'm gonna do. Maybe like mountains or something. Okay. Wonderful. I'm going to combine this down so that everything is in one layer. And now I will show you how you can make the pattern. So I duplicate this layer 4 times. And then I will use the selection tool. Make sure magnetic is on, and this time it will be easier because it actually snaps in place to the center. And I will start moving every square to one side. So. And there you go. Now you have a nice pattern created. And it's also very important to still zoom in. Just in case that you did make a mistake, you will see it here. It's important that it is okay. Otherwise, you know, you will see it and that's not very nice. It did happen to me before, so it was horrible because I had to redo the entire process, of course, but it ended up okay. So that's how you do that. Now I will show you if you were to go to the edges. I'm gonna merge this down, okay, and undo it. And I will show you, in case you do make a mistake, what the result of that will be. Because, again, I also made the mistake because I didn't think about it. Sorry for the beeping noise, I don't know if you can hear it, but that's my washing machine that finished. So here you can already see the problems that we're creating by going to the side. You see that these don't match up, and that is exactly why you shouldn't draw straight up to the edge, because then you will get this error. So I'm not going to continue this process because it's obvious that it's not going to work. Unless this is of course something you want, but that is sort of beats the purpose of a seamless pattern, of course. So I'm just going to delete this. And there you go. I hope this helps. This is a technique that you can actually use in almost any illustration software that has the option to create layers and has like some sort of selection tool. So I believe that you can do this exact same technique in Sketchbook. I used Sketchbook Pro before and it doesn't have any pattern creation software, but the exact same tools that I just showed you are available in that software, and Sketchbook Pro is also free. So, and you can use it on a computer. So you don't need an iPad or Procreate to do this. I hope that this tutorial helped you out, and if you liked it, then I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments below. I hope that in these crazy times everyone is keeping safe, taking care of themselves and their loved ones. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.